welcome back to Momentous Struggle, a Star Wars Shatterpoint podcast. On today's episode, Aubrey and I are going to go ahead and discuss the Plo Koon squad pack and see what, just talk about that a little bit and see what else is going on in our lives because, we like to share everything we're doing with ourselves. So let's go ahead and jump into it. As always, joined by Aubrey. Aubrey, you're finally moved in. It seems like life is starting to get somewhat back to normal. How are we doing today?
For those of you who are only listening on the YouTube, you will see a box of my Haidang Gumdo trophies on the one side. And remember, dear listeners, if you've heard my previous episodes, the door that you could probably just see the little bit of the door jam there, it still cannot be closed. So that's where we are. There are in fact more boxes there than when we moved in. I don't know if I should be concerned or not.
As long as there's not dead bodies in it, I think you're good to go. I mean, that's the biggest concern is if there are dead bodies, then you need to go and find somebody that has a bunch of pigs because from watching movies, like pigs eat dead bodies apparently. So
Yeah. Well, I mean, my future mother-in-law was in the house. Don't worry, everyone. We didn't get into any fisticuffs. I was at work. It was fine. And I couldn't find my mic and my webcam to get set up so for a minute there. So there could be dead bodies in here. I don't know. I believe my mother-in-law has made enough enemies in her life. There might be a body here. I don't know. We got a garden out back. Maybe she's giving me the fancy fertilizer.
nice. That's always good. I mean, always anything to help the plants grow. No, so I mean, but the nice thing is, you and I actually have had chances to play a couple of games. I actually this week I met up at one of our LGSs and did two teaching games. One of the players actually is going to be joining the league, our local league, and probably playing in the tournament. I think he's playing in the tournament we have coming up next weekend. The other player, he doesn't really like anything in Star Wars other than the original trilogy, so he's just buying the Ewok boxes and he's just going to play Ewoks and he's perfectly fine with that. He's more of an MCP guy anyway. So, but yeah, no, I did two casual or two teaching games this week, and then you and I met up last night and played a game, which was pretty fun.
Oh yeah. Well, wait a minute, Todd. It was fun for you. I don't know if it was as fun for me because the separatists did separatist things, and I'm still on the path, everyone, of trying to figure out what I want my fourth list to be. I'm working on a premier showdown list, and I like my first three squads. I'm still working on the fourth, so I tried out my usual well, actually, I guess it wasn't usual. It's Maul, Obi-2, and then I brought back Clan Kreese because I wanted to try Bounty Hunters with Lumi Varys. And it just felt like I did not have enough force to do all of the things. Plus, we were playing on Sabotage Showdown, and I was a little gun shy because, what was it? It was my first card was Maul, reserve him. Next card was Shatterpoint, put it back. Next card
I think it
was it Bounty Hunters? I think.
I think it was reversed. I think you like pulled Shatterpoint. You're like, nope. Then you put Maul in, and you're like, okay, reserve him. Like, because you went through two force before you actually even played anybody. Either way.
Yeah, yeah. So like that was tough too. And yeah, so yes, it was reverse order, then bounty hunters, or no, Mandos.
Yep.
That's right, Mandos. And I did not want to just run Mandos into Grievous sitting over there, but then you were able to take all the objectives, and I was having trouble pushing you off, and yeah, it's a learning lesson. So I still haven't grokked Sabotage Showdown's play patterns. I got to work on that.
Yeah, I mean, in retrospect, like you were hesitant to sit there and jump onto the midline and secure one of those midline points. And Sabotage Showdown, I mean, there's a reason why they called it the Death Donut. I think it's just designed to sit there and get into combat and beat the crap out of one another. And I think that was kind of one of the things where it's like you really needed to just shove yourself forward and hope for the best type of a thing and at least force me to sit there and try and take the point back from you. Because that's kind of what I did in reverse was I think I had Django. I think it was like my first or first or second activation, so I was able to move him forward, take my left side objective, and then my second activation, I was able to move forward and take the right side objective. So I had 40 or two, and that hesitation of not moving forward to take a center line objective kind of like hurt you. And I ended up taking that. I mean, it didn't go super fast, but it was I think you were playing from behind the entire time because I was just up 4-2 right from the start.
Yeah, yeah. And some of that is like you really don't want to waste a primary activation on just moving up to a point if you can help it. I mean, it happens. Sometimes you rip primary off the top and you're like, "Oh, okay, well, whatever." And like I also when I'm playing against an aggressive list, which Dooku Grievous is pretty aggressive, I'm like, I don't really want to put supports up there to just get beat off. But I
Beat off
think
your
I still
supports.
I did set you up. I did set you up. Okay. Okay. That's fair, Todd. That's fair.
Sorry,
But
I'm in a
in
juvenile mood tonight.
hey, that's that's true. That's true. Anyway, back to our very serious discussion about miniature Star Wars figures, Todd.
Right?
uh I probably should just have made you have the answer. That's like a magic strategy.
Yeah.
A lot of times when for those of you who haven't played Magic, the game is pretty much broken down into threats and answers. You either have so many threats that you overwhelm your opponent that you beat out their threats, or conversely, you have enough answers for your opponent's threats so that you break apart their plan and take it apart. And a lot of times people either will hold their answers for too long because they're waiting for something more important, or on the other side, if you have a lot of threats, sometimes you'll hold back some of them because you're worried about your opponent's answers. But either way, sometimes you just have to ask the question, do they have it? And I didn't know that Grievous was on top of your deck or not.
Yeah.
So I should have just asked you the question.
And I think
So
that's and
trying
that
to get those play patterns.
exactly. But the one thing to keep in mind is that is very similar in tabletop wargaming and miniature gaming is asking the question. Like and you hear that a lot is I'm going to present you with a question. You're going to have to answer it, and based off of how you answer, I'm going to respond. It's the same difference. It's similar. You just have to do the same. I mean, it almost breaks down to our last act, like towards the end, where it was basically like I'm gonna move. I think at the like our third struggle, where I moved Kraken forward and said, "Well, I'm gonna attack this person." Or no, it wasn't that. It was I moved the Grievous forward and I attacked your uh, I attacked Luminara, and basically Luminara was pretty like close to death. And it was one of those where an Obi 2 was in range to do mind trick, and it was more along the lines of who do you want to die? Basically, it's like, do you want me to attack this person, or do you want me to attack this person with two less dice? I mean, and that asking that question of you, it forced you to use Obi, which in turn, I think a turn later, I ended up was able to use Kraken to get into range to shoot a Luminara off the point to win the game. So it was like a matter of asking you those questions to sit there and put you in a position to where is this the right thing to do? And in retrospect, if you would have let Lumi take the hit and kept Obi-Wan there, Obi-Wan might have been able to mind trick away that attack that was going into him, and then you would have been able to sit there and survive another point potentially.
Ooh, Todd, I have a question for you. I
Okay.
have a question for you. Did you attack specifically Luminara at that point, thinking about that next turn?
Yes, because I knew
Dang it.
because I already had it wasn't accidentally tactical. It was actually
That's
because
what I wanted. I wanted to know if it was an accidentally
no
tactical moment.
be,
Ah, it's
be,
fine. It's fine. It's
because
fine.
in because I had Kraken in reserve at that point in time, and I had So it was basically like I knew that my next move I was going to be able to move forward and attack into somebody. So it was a matter of who are you going to sit there. Like I wanted you to sit there and make that decision. And in all honesty, it was like I really wanted you to sit there and mind trick so that I could attack into Obi-Wan, because I don't think I would have been put in the right position to sit there and take it if I didn't. It would have been a little bit more difficult. So it was just interesting. But I think that's what I'm kind of getting to is look at how the decisions that you are putting on your opponent are going to impact you in the long run, type of a thing.
Yeah, yeah, and I think this is a good conversation too, to think about the not just the threat and answers question, but also the thinking ahead. Because I will freely admit, I did not think about what you would do with Kraken when I made the choice to mind trick there.
Yeah.
And I had the information that you had Kraken in reserve,
Yep.
and I did not. Like this is we're all friends here, right, listeners? Like I made the mistake. I did not do the chess game of thinking past this moment. I mean, it was struggle 3. I was getting tired. We went and got food after, but still, I didn't have that thought even in my pretty little head. Todd
Yep.
wasn't even there.
I mean,
So good.
there and a lot of the information was available. Like looking in retrospect, a lot of the information was available simply because my order deck was empty. It was the only thing that I had was one card in reserve. You knew that no matter what, I was going to be using Kraken. So it was just interesting that it was like you had the information, but like you said, it was like one. It was the end of the day. We went on Friday night after both of us kind of like were running around doing errands all day long, type of a thing, and then we show up to the game store at like 6 o'clock and we played until 8. So I mean it was a late night and we'd been working and doing our stuff all day. So you were not at the sharpest point you possibly could have been, probably. So I mean it was one of those
Todd,
where
Todd, am I ever at the sharpest point though? Like, let's be real. Let's be real.
probably not. I'm gonna give you the benefit of the doubt, but it's all right.
Yeah, just no, just my point is, take this lesson. My sword instructor likes to tell us that um, there is winning and then there is learning.
Yes.
If you failed, you learned what did not work in that situation, so that you can, if you listen to it, improve for next time. So there you
hopefully
go.
hopefully you can learn from your mistakes, and the bigger key to it is learning from your successes. If you can learn what you did and did not do correctly in your successes, and that's the harder part of it, I think, about anything. uh, and so yeah, I mean, I definitely wanted to touch on that. One other thing I wanted to touch on as well, and this is MCP world, but I was listening to Dizzard's MCP podcast, Rogue Agents, and during the conversation they were having, they were talking about how miniature wargaming is a shared experience, and it like kind of resonated. I just was listening to that today, and it really resonated with me about like something in this game, how it's a shared experience of like, and enjoy that shared experience. And I think that's really something that AMG wants people to uh, experience in playing this game. And sometimes we lose track of that, of like enjoying the experience of playing the miniatures war game. And like last night when we were playing our game, it was really a fun experience of just hanging out playing the game. And it's like, so it was one of those where in the moment that really resonated with me. So with that point that they were making of like how this is a shared experience and enjoy playing the game together. So something else I just wanted to say, I mean, like, I know some of our listeners don't listen to MCP stuff or anything like that, but like it's Dizzard, so I love Dizzard's like anything that he does, type of a thing. So I always listen to his stuff. But it was like one of his on his other podcast, just listening to that, and I think they're coming back on Rogue Agents or Rogue Support soon too. So that would be really awesome if they come back.
Ooh, I will be excited. I'm hope I've been missing Rogue Support. I
Right?
apparently just found out now that their other podcast is called Rogue Agents, and that's why it's called Rogue Support, presumably. Okay, all
Dizzard
right.
has one called Rogue Agent. That's his MCP one. Omnis has Omnis Protocols, which is his. Like they don't podcast together regularly, but they each have their own MCP podcast as well. So yes, but that's Rogue Agents, Rogue Support. Yes, there is a connection between those two podcasts.
Yeah, and I like the fact that, so I mean, like, early on in the game, I was debating between two decisions because I'm trying to get faster at making decisions in tabletop world. Because let's be real, I wasn't the fastest in Magic either. But uh, oh man, the YouTubers are getting the extra hilarity of seeing Todd's reaction to me saying that, because
This-
I was slow. Everybody, I
oh,
was not slow play slow. Don't get me wrong, but I was slow. It's fine.
there were so
We all
many
have our
tournaments that we
faults.
went to, and it was like, oh, the tournament, the round's over. Where's Aubrey? Oh, they went to time, so Aubrey's just finishing up now. It's like, and me playing my aggro decks, I was done 15 minutes ago, and you're like, it's like it just goes to time, and it's like, oh, Aubrey's still playing. So yes, it was. I can't help but laugh.
Right. But the thrust of the point I'm trying to make is that like, I felt very comfortable just stopping in the middle of the game and going, Todd, I'm trying to make these two decisions. What do you think?
Yeah,
And like, yes, we've known each other for years. Yes, like, I would do that if I was like testing in a game of Magic. But are there have been times where I wouldn't always feel comfortable asking that question of the Magic players around me, because sometimes you'll get just snark or, well, of course you do this, or disparaging or condescension. And I'm not trying to fault Magic players. There are a ton of great Magic players.
hmm
But I realized last night, and I was only thinking about this vaguely, but you brought it back to the forefront because of what you said, or what Rogue Agent said. Uh, I've had no problem just being like, "Hey, Todd, what should I do here? What do you think?" And I did, and I fired that off without thought. And I realized, as I'm thinking back to some of the tournaments, and I know we're not in like hyper competitive days because these are the early days of the game, but a lot of times, even with competitive players like with Matt or Chris or some of the others, I felt perfectly comfortable, like, even in a tournament, going, "Well, I'm trying to do this. Can I do this?"
yeah,
Like, just saying that, and accepting their answer. Oh yeah, 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 that looks fine. Or nah, looks like you're a little off. Or conversely, being the one saying, wait, stop. Did you think about this?
yeah.
Like, it's great to feel comfortable enough in a community to be willing to just talk to each other about your game, and make sure that you're both having a good time. Like,
Right.
that's what games are for, right?
Right. I mean, it goes like to exacerbate that comment. I mean, it was like during our game last night. Like there was that point where you had your Shatterpoint card, and you're like, "Man, I really want to use Maul, and I really want to use Lumi because it's my Shatterpoint card." And like we sat there and thought about it back and forth, and it was like, well, the best thing to do in order to sit there and score the most points and the most beneficial thing for you in the moment is to actually use your clan Kree's command, or Mandalorians, and do this with them. I mean, so like we actually talked through what was the best course of action in that activation for you with your Shatterpoint card. I mean, it was. I mean, that's how you learn and grow, and it's like you don't have to just sit there and I'm gonna kill you no matter what every game you play. It's there's the experience of playing together and learning together. I think is something very important that sometimes we forget about, like when we're playing in the moment. So just something that kind of, like I
Right.
said, the comment resonated with me. I was like, I think I was running out to get pizza for the family, and it was like, oh, that just kind of resonated with me.
Yeah, and I know the section's going long. We were going to talk about Plo, but one more. So I've talked about this. I'm a librarian, so one of the things I do is I have a monthly Pokemon club. Although it might be going to bi-monthly here, every 2 weeks. We'll see. Uh, but at Pokemon Club, I, at the beginning now, and I'm dealing with kids as young as 5, 6, 7. Like, they can barely read, and they're trying to play the Pokemon card game. And one of the things I have to do at the beginning is provide a code of conduct for all the participants.
Mhm.
And the lesson I teach, because for a lot of these kids, this might be their first experience with not a board game.
Yeah,
Like, not a pull out of the box, the rules are all there. Like, they don't know what draw a card means.
yeah,
They don't might not know what deck means. If I say pick up your deck and search for a Pokemon, that doesn't make sense to them. They
Yeah.
don't know what that sentence means because this is their first experience. And one of the other things I have to tell them is I'm teaching them, right? I am literally being the puppet master with my strings above the game, making sure that the game goes well so that they learn. Like I will pull energy. Like, sorry if nobody's played Pokemon before, but yeah, follow me down this ride because I'm just trying to make a point. Like I will pull cards out of their deck if they don't have enough Pokemon. I will pull energy out of their deck. I will massage the flow of the game so that everybody gets a chance to learn things.
Hmm.
But one of the things I have to emphasize, because this also might be these kids' first experience with this, is the sportsmanship of a competitive game. I have to explicitly tell them, hey, you are playing a competitive game. There will be a winner, there will be a loser. But today is about learning. I'm teaching you a game. So you should not feel bad that one of you is going to be the loser
Yeah.
because frankly, I'm the only one who's winning. I'm teaching you how to play, and if you learn how to play, then we're successful.
Right.
And that last point is more to my club than what we're talking about. But you picking up what I'm
Yep.
putting down here,
I'm
Todd?
picking
You,
up what
you
you're
get the
putting down. I
idea?
got you. I got you. No, I get it. I mean, it's like, and that's kind of like there's a very similar parallel between the like those two things for sure. Between, just learning this game and playing this game for sure. So I know we kind of went off on a tangent and everything like that, but it's like there was like I had a lot of things like running around in my mind just listening to other podcasts today. So it was kind of something I wanted to discuss, and I figured it was a good. This is a good format to discuss that. So yeah, no, that was kind of where I was going with everything. So yeah, let's go ahead and jump into our main topic of talking about the Plo Koon box. So basically, we have Jedi Master Plo Koon. He is a squad point 3 force character. He is a primary. He does have 10 stamina, 3 durability, and so he's a new primary that's coming out. Only has the, like I said, Force user, Galactic Republican, Jedi as his tags. Pretty exciting character though. I'm pretty excited to sit there and see him and start playing with him. He does only have, like, looking at all of his abilities, he has 4 abilities. He does have his on activation ability of I know we can, if we work together we can stay alive. We will stay alive, and that's from the Clone Wars. What was it, like episode 3, I think, when basically they were attacked by the Grievous ship. Which, so really cool though. Basically, what this one is, at the start of the unit's activation, choose an allied Galactic Republic unit. Each character in that unit may dash. Then, if it's a trooper or Padawan, one character in that unit may dash as well. So really cool. I mean, if you build your team the right way, you get double out of activation or double movement for that, and you're like out of activation for your units, and then he can move himself.
Oh yeah, this ability this ability is very cool. Like finally the light side is getting the ability to, move multiple people, like up to 3 characters are going to get to move in this. Like hooray, hooray, as long as you hit all the conditions. Like look out, Kalani, we got Plo Koon.
Yeah, I mean, and it's not that hard to build around it if you're going to sit there and go with an all Galactic Republic team, because pretty much all of your clones are troopers, and you have multiple Padawans now that are going to be available. Even if you didn't get Ahsoka in the beginning, she's going to be in this box, so you're going to have two. You can potentially have 2 Padawans available. So pretty awesome there. One active ability though for Plo as well, which is he has the Force push, the 2 Force, to do that. And same as always, you push an enemy character within range 3 can be pushed away 3. Um, as always, with all of the other characters that have force push, this is pretty far down his stance, or his stance card. Or, and so we'll get to take a look at that in a little bit more detail. So you have to go a little farther down his tree in order to do that. So you're probably going to be paying some force in order to do this ability when he comes up.
Yeah, yeah, that's that is the one thing that it does feel like, and I don't know, maybe the Jedi have more restraint, but like not everyone is 4 down the tree, right? Doesn't Kalani and Kraken get to fire off Tactical Network at 3 successes or
Yeah,
something?
tactical
Like,
network. I'm talking more along force push, because the only other people that have force push is Asajj and Barris, and they're all 4 down the tree. It's like that was one of the biggest things with Asajj, even playing her in the early days. It was like you just didn't get far enough down the tree with her to sit there and get the force push off. And unfortunately, it's probably going to be the same with Plo here.
So, like the thing about that is, and maybe this is just a consequence of force push being so good and so powerful, but they've also made it difficult for him to even get down his tree because even though like lightsaber starts off with and again I'm jumping onto the stance card a little bit to
Yeah.
look at the expertise a bit, but like one expertise gets you a crit, two expertise gets you two crits. Okay, that's great. But then three expertise only gets you two crits and a damage. So yeah, I mean, I guess this is just a consequence of force push being stronger and costing two force. So they're also making it more difficult for you to get it. But yeah, you're probably spending two force for it more often than you think.
Yeah, I mean, I think AMG's made it very clear that they think Force Push is a very powerful ability. It's always been two force, and it's always been very difficult to get down your tree far enough to sit there and actually utilize it. So it's they have basically told us without telling us Force Push is good. You have to sit there and actually go out of your way, and you have to plan around utilizing it. And I mean, that's fine. I mean, I know in the times that I have used it, especially if someone is like range 2 plus away, and then you're pushing them range 3 away, you're really displacing them very far. So it is a very strong ability just to get someone completely out of the way and move them completely out of the game. So I understand why it costs so much and why it's so difficult to utilize.
Oh yeah, yeah. If you have not figured it out by now, dear listeners, the the whole point of this game is objective control.
Yeah.
Force push is probably one of the best ways to immediately take an objective while other variables being the same. So
Yeah.
there's a reason we have to jump through these hoops. I just it's fine. It's fine. I'm not gonna think about Kalani anymore. Kalani hurt me one too many times, Todd, last night. Come on.
No, I get it. I mean, and going back to force push though, I mean, it's like the nice thing, like the one thing
Or
about
Kraken.
Kraken,
Kraken,
it
not
was
Kalani.
it was
Whatever.
it was a tactical droid. There, I mean, they're just badass. But but I mean, overall, I mean, like force push. I mean, the other part about it is you can do an attack, push somebody, get two pushes down your tree, or two shoves, I should say, down the tree, and then turn around and shove and do a force push or something like that. So it's like you can displace two characters by utilize like within one activation too. So just something else to think about, like why this is such a powerful ability is because like you can use this to displace a second character. But getting into the rest of his tree here, or his abilities, he has one reactive ability, deflect. It's pretty much something we've already seen before. After an attack, if they're a range attack, if there's failures, whoever's attacking you suffers 2 damage. So nothing new there by any means.
Yeah. Yeah, deflect is one of those like and I hate to call them throwaway abilities because obviously there are instances where you will use them and sometimes your opponent will play around them which tends to be in your favor. But I mean, this is like one of those, yeah, I got the extra bit of damage in because somebody actually chose to shoot at a Jedi.
Mhm.
But it's like slip away. When slip away happens, oh, that's cool, great. But you're almost never slipping away, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean
Sorry,
this.
Barris. Sorry, Asajj.
No, and this is very easy to play around as a thing. It's like, okay, I just don't range attack you. I just wait. I get into melee with you, which is kind of what Plo wants anyway. But it's something. It's not too hard to play around this ability. I guess is ultimately what I'm trying to say. And then the last thing that he has is an innate ability. We can do this the simple way, or we can do this, or the difficult way. And basically, what this is, while this unit is not wounded, when another Galactic Republic character within range 3 is targeted by an attack, this unit gains expose. If it does, or it says this unit may gain expose, I should say, and if it does, the defending character may use this unit's defense expertise chart during the attack. Then, after the attack is resolved, if the defending character was a trooper or Padawan, one character in this unit may advance towards the attacker. So a lot going on there, but basically anyone could use his expertise chart, which can be really nice when you're looking at primaries or secondaries and supports, especially supports being able to use his expertise chart. He's going to get exposed for it, and then he's also going to be able to advance towards them. So a lot going on there.
Yeah, this ability is another one of those, like, I feel like the first time it happens to you might be a gotcha moment
Mm-hmm.
because it's weird. It's like taking on expose is massive. So we already know, wait a minute, this ability is strong because a lot of times these abilities, the identity abilities are just strong. They
Right.
don't have a drawback. They're just good. This one has a drawback. Okay, let's peel back that layer and take a look at what it means. Well, and it's kind of hard to talk about Plo without jumping down and onto his stance cards, but he has two stances: Form 5 Gem, so Form 3 Sarisu. The defensive expertise on each side. So we'll start with Gem, so because it's the the fighty side. It's where
Mm-hmm.
he's got seven melee and only 5 defense dice on each. But that for 1 to 2 expertise, you get 2 blocks.
Right.
So we already are happy because 1 expertise turns into double. This is great. And then it gets weird because 3 and 4 expertise are still only 2 blocks, but you have a heal on 3 and then a heal and a jump.
Right.
So it's kind of interesting that, like, you're going to want to really think ahead about whether or not you're going to want the jump versus, let's go to the other side. The other side is the same in terms of blocks. 1 to 2 gets you 2 blocks. 3, 2 blocks. 4, 2 blocks. But now 3 successes, or not successes, 3 expertise turns a crit to a hit, and then 4 turns 1 crit to a hit and another crit to a failure. So
Right.
you, like the mind palace nonsense you have to get into, Todd. You have to think about, okay, do I want to be on the Gem So side? Do I want to be on the Sarisu side? Form 5, Form 3. Okay. Do I need a jump and a heal more? Do I need to worry about crits? So you're going to be looking at your opponent's squad and trying to figure out, like, what's more important, the heal and the jump, or the crits and the crits getting manipulated. So, like, even from turn to turn, oh, Todd, I don't know how this ability is making my head hurt already, and I'm just talking about it. I'm not even
Right.
playing with it.
Yeah, I mean, and looking at like the Form 3 side, the Sarisu side, that's something that like you might, after you attack, you might want to flip back onto that side. I don't think you really want to be like attacking in that side at all, because one, you're only rolling 5 dice. So more than likely with rolling 5 dice with against anybody, you're lucky to maybe go 2 down the tree with that. I mean, and depending on if you have other ways to add dice. I mean, in spoiler,
Spoilers,
a
spoilers.
lot of people play him with Vader. So you're adding 3 dice, so you're rolling 8 here. But if you're not pairing him with Vader, you're only rolling forward 5 dice. You're probably only going 1 to 2 down the tree anyway. So I mean, you're really only doing the 2 to 3 damage and a recover. I don't see. I mean, you're only going to want to be on that side, I think, if you're going to be utilizing that in the defensive side when you're planning for him to get attacked, or if you're wanting to utilize his identity to sit there and allow people to utilize his defensive expertise chart.
Yeah. And have we gotten an answer to the question of, if he's already exposed, can he expose himself again? Just like take a damage, take a damage, take a damage. Because I know there was some talk back and forth, and I don't think the that's been answered in the forums, at least. But I always forget to check the forums.
I don't I don't know if it's been answered or not, but I mean, if I was running a tournament, my what I would say is, okay, he just gains another expose, and the gaining expose, since if he already has it, that means he takes 1 damage, unless someone like Thoris or somebody on the uh, on the forums sits there and says otherwise, that's how I would rule it in the moment. But that can change.
Yeah, that is how I would rule it too. I only bring that up because I think it was on one of the other podcasts. They were talking about that and that there hadn't been an answer yet. And I was like, oh, I didn't even think that maybe that would be a problem in the case of a unit giving it to themselves. But no, I would. Again, I used to be a Magic judge. Sometimes you got to make a gut call based on rules, and it looks like I'm going to be doing that a lot in the tabletop world. uh, that I would rule it the same as you. That just makes sense.
Yeah.
To kind of dig into his stance cards a little more. I know we're doing this kind of out of order, but a lot of Plo is about his stance cards.
Hmm.
His form 3 side is also pretty unique. Do we often see these combinations of, so like one success is 2 damage, 2 successes is a damage and a heal, but then when you get to 3, it's a shove, a damage and a jump, and
Right.
the bottom branch, it splits into a Y here, is a heal, a shove, and a damage, followed by a heal and 2 more damage to get you to 5 successes.
Right.
What I want to emphasize is that if you then go to the top tree, the fourth success would be a disarm and a damage, okay, standard. But then the last one is a pin and a shove and a damage, but a pin and a shove on one success
With the
spot.
damage.
Like
Yeah.
I don't actually, with a damage.
Yeah.
Like I get that unless you're running him with Vader, you're probably never seeing that fifth success. But
That's
that's
wild.
different,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. It's wild. I mean, even looking at the third success where you have a pin, a jump, and a damage, or no, sorry, a shove, a damage, and a pin, is pretty interesting. Where it's like that combination is something we haven't seen before. So no, it's his tree is unique in how they are putting the different icons and everything along those lines, the different abilities together on his card. So I think it's very interesting. But also one other thing, I mean, this is the defensive side, so we don't have the force push on this side either, which is something to keep in mind too.
Oh, right. Maybe that's why they gave us so many options. Cause like that third one, which is the shove, a damage and a jump,
Mhm.
like a shove and a jump together, that's so much. And
It is.
and I've never had to think about this before with so many options, but and this is probably, we'd have to look it up with the rules book, but do you resolve them, like you resolve them from like top, like clock, is it clockwise order or counterclockwise? I'm just thinking about the order of where you start, because like if you shove and then jump, that's different from if you jump and then shove, and you could do weird stuff. It must be clockwise, right? It must be shove and then jump, because that's too crazy.
I would think you would have to shove and jump, but I think there's also a part of me that says the activating player can resolve them in whatever order they want. Just
Right,
like
because
coming from,
if you can
yeah.
jump, and shove, that opens up some interesting possibilities.
Yeah, I mean, coming from the MCP world, it's something like that. I think I would say that knowing AMG's way, that's entirely possible, and I would have to. I mean, that's something that I'm. As soon as we're done with our podcast, I'm going to definitely go double check. But I would not be surprised if
Yeah.
this was something that you could resolve, like the active player could resolve in whatever order they want. So that's that. I wouldn't be surprised if you could either shove and then jump or jump and then shove, however you want to take advantage of those, and for using a magic term, however you want to put those on the stack and resolve them.
Right. Right. Yeah. And I don't want to dwell too much on the stance cards, because I know it's a lot and it's kind of hard to parse in an audio only format. Like
Mm-hmm.
I know I get lost when you're hearing it, but just want to say that on the other side, on the Form 5 side, there's more of this nonsense. The first successes are 2 damage and a pin and 2 damage and a jump, which I guess you do see that on primaries. Kind of, they a
Yeah,
lot of times they get effects, but even later on in the middle there, 3 successes gets you 3 damage, or 3 successes gets you a damage and 2 heals.
yeah.
Have we seen have we seen that much healing with damage? Because usually it would just be 2 heals or like a heal and a damage.
Right.
Again, I'm asking you to have encyclopedic knowledge of every success box, Todd. It just feels just a little tweaked. Like all of his spots are tweaky, but in a good way.
Yeah, in a good way. I mean, it's interesting. Like looking at Plo, most characters don't have recovers on both sides of their like primaries don't have recovers on both sides of their stance card, and he has ways that he can recover on both sides, which is really interesting. And on his fighty side, he has 2 recovers on the third success. So it's interesting that like he has that like it's he has a way to potentially has a way to keep himself alive better than most, regardless of what side of his stance card he's on, which is really interesting.
Yeah, and let's not forget a pin and a push
Yep.
right there. 2 successes. That is like basically the bread and butter of Shatterpoint is can I push you off a point and can I keep you where I pushed you?
Right. Right. Yeah. No, that's exactly. I mean, that's a big part of it. Is definitely is having those pins or those shoves on your first 2 to 3 is really where you want to have those shoves, because that's really where your successes are. You can count on successes to happen as your first 2 successes usually is where you're going to be most of the time. So knowing that, like, okay, as long as I get 2 successes, I'm going to get 1 displacement. That's pretty good for him.
Yeah. Have we mentioned yet Zion's Finest episode where they did all that math and crunched all those numbers? Was that their most recent one, and I just haven't talked to you about it yet?
They have. I mean, I listened to it as well. They had I can't
Yeah.
remember his name from Norway. He's a Canadian player from Norway, and he's actually going to be at Adepticon to play, and because he does a lot of blogs for everything for Shatterpoint and for Legion. And he does a lot of like the running the numbers and playing with the numbers. So yeah, he did mention, and that was one of the things that he had mentioned for sure was having the 2 to 3 successes is really what you can count on, and anything else is just gravy on top type of a thing.
Yeah, but Plo passes the test.
Yep,
What are we gonna call it? The 2-3
the
test?
2 3 test.
We're inventing something over here.
I don't. We're not inventing it. We're just giving it a name, I guess.
Oh yes, yes. Sorry. I guess the places that everyone explored and named a lot of times incorrectly, were there before they got there. All right, Todd. All right, fine, fine.
So I mean, I guess we can dive a little bit into our girl Ahsoka next. I mean, I think we've gone over just about everything there is to go about Plo. Ahsoka, I mean, we've already seen her. She's been out. Like, if people were lucky enough to get her at a on pre-order or a store that was doing a giveaway, I think a lot of people have gotten her already. Touching on her abilities, I mean, she has a great ability with Ratio where she can basically help another primary allied a Galactic Republic primary or a Jedi primary move. She is fearless ability that gives her the ability to jump, and she can do it twice. She has deflect just like everybody else. So I mean, she's common abilities there. I don't think, like I said, I don't know if we want to dive too much into Ahsoka because like I said, she's already been out there for a while.
Yeah, I mean, hang on. You missed the most important ability. Well, yeah, no, the most important ability she's got. Getting ahead of yourselves again, Snips. Remember, if as long as she's near a supporting Galactic Republic unit, she gets to jump and make a 5 dice attack in retribution. Like
Yep.
that's attacking. I think attacking on my opponent's turn might be my favorite thing to do, Todd. I know I'm a control player. I like playing on my opponent's turn. It just there's something that makes me really happy about just, oh, you're done attacking? Well, guess what? Now I'm attacking. Are you ready?
I mean, I did enjoy that last night when I got to sit there and take my Magna Guards into your bounty hunters and kill them after they attacked me. That was kind of nice.
Thanks for reminding me that you ended my activation, Todd.
I mean,
Thanks.
that does happen.
I haven't gotten over that trauma yet, Todd.
So no, that was pretty nice. I mean, so I do agree with you. Attacking on your opponent's turn is definitely fantastic.
Yeah. I will say I don't think we need to dwell on her too much. I sort of also forgot that she was in the box because I was like, oh, and now we're going to talk about Wolf. And then you were like, and then we're going to talk about Ahsoka. And I went, oh, uh, uh, is this a blooper if it just happens in my head, Todd?
We'll allow it. I mean, we'll call it a blooper. I mean, that's what I'm going to say tomorrow when we're watching the Super Bowl anyway. So no, I mean, like Aubrey's blooper
Yeah.
when we were recording. This is what happened. But no, it's. I mean, I don't think we need. Like I said, don't think we need to dwell on her too much. She's been around for a while. It's nice that all of the people that don't have Ahsoka are finally going to have the chance to get her in this box. So, and it isn't too far down the line. I think it's what 8 months after release, 6 months after release, where everyone else is able to get her. So not too bad of a deal there. But yeah, so let's go ahead and jump into Commander Wolffe, someone who we haven't seen yet. So he's a 4 point cost Zero Force character as well, secondary. He has Clone Trooper, Galactic Republic, and Wolfpack. Notably, does not have the Trooper tag on there, but he does have Clone Trooper. So that is something notable.
Wait, wait. Why doesn't he have what? I didn't even notice. Sorry. Carry on with reading the card. Apparently, I did not read the card.
But
Okay.
but he does have
All
9 stamina and
right.
2 durability, which is pretty good for a secondary. His first ability that he has on activation is Flank him. At the start of his activation, you can choose an allied clone trooper unit. Each character in the unit can climb. So nice that you actually can get vertical movement out of this. And there's the two things that are of note. One, it's global, and two, it's each character in the unit. It's not just one character; it's both. So I think there's two important things there, which make it very nice that you get vertical movement, and you can get two characters to vertical movement on a global level.
Yeah. Now think about playing Plo, playing Wolf. That is so much movement.
A lot of
Like the
movement.
if pushing people off of points and pinning them there is number one, then you know move free movement
Mm-hmm.
and multiple characters is number two.
Yep. No, definitely a very nice move, or on activation ability. So I do like that. I don't think there's enough of that in the Galactic Republic yet. I mean, you have that with you have it with Cody, but it's really not a good one with Cody. I mean, but and the only one that really is outside of Snips and Rex is him now. I mean, those are your top three that are going to have this really good out of on activation ability at the secondary level. So pretty nice to see that they're getting a little bit more out of that there. He does have one active ability, which is Run and Gun, which is a force. Each character in this unit may dash. If any character is dashed, this unit immediately makes a focus action. So basically, you get a little bit of movement. I mean, he doesn't have anything like impact or sharpshooter, but he gets to make a focus action, which is going to add an additional dice on his attack, which is so helps him move into a better position to make an attack potentially. Maybe get into melee if he wants to get into melee because it does. The Wolfpack is definitely a more melee focused unit, so having that extra movement to get there where he needs to get to is kind of nice.
Yeah, like that this gives the Galactic Republic a more aggressive feel,
Mm-hmm.
because defensive maneuver, frankly, sounds defensive. It makes you feel like, oh well, I don't want to move my clones into engagement because unless I'm running Obi-Wan, they're gonna lose their hunker tokens. So then you you play the clone troopers the way it feels like they were designed to play, but then it's like you get punished for that. Whereas this feels very much more like Mandos or battle droids or any of the other units that are used to I'm going to move you up and I'm going to take a shot at you.
Yeah,
And that's what these guys do finally they can run up and actually use some of those vibro blades and cool stuff that the Republic clone troopers have, but apparently not in Shatterpoint. They left their kid at home.
yeah.
Come on. Come on.
No, so I mean, it's definitely nice to have that ability to get into some melee and do some melee damage. So I like this on them. I think it's something different for Galactic Republic and a different play. Adding a different play style, I think, is really nice. They do also do have one reactive, or I'm sorry, yeah, one active or reactive ability, or two innate abilities, I should say. One is Pack Hunter. When a character in this unit makes a melee attack targeting an enemy character that is engaged with another clone trooper, it can add 2 dice to its attack roll. So this kind of plays on that ability of wanting to be engaged and be in melee, and having your clone troopers go up. So a little outside of what we're used to with clones, where normally they're wanting to be in the back, kind of shooting into everybody. This is saying, nope, you want your clone troopers up front, you want them attacking, and he wants to be in attack and melee and just engaged with everybody.
Yeah, yeah. This is what I like is makes it makes Wolf feel more even.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that that's silly because we keep talking about him being melee focused, but spoilers, looking at his stance card, he has 7 range dice. Just
Yeah.
just always. He has 7 range dice. And with run and gun, which you're likely going to use regularly, you're gonna have 8 dice. But I mean, the other side, he has 6 dice. And with this ability, he's gonna easily get 8, and again, maybe up to 9 if you have the force for run and gun. So like those are respectable numbers. Those are numbers I want to see for my characters, and it doesn't feel like it's going to be that hard to do. This so far, Shatterpoint has been a very melee focused game. We're talking about Clone Wars, where the Jedi and Sith and are in abundance running around. Not to mention the Mandalorians, which just want to fight everywhere.
Right.
So, uh, but these clones again feel like they can compete. Like this feels like a secondary that I'm not gonna be embarrassed to bring to the table. I'm looking at you, Pawns.
And Cody, yeah. So
Ugh.
no, so no, I get it.
Oh, oh no, Cody. Sorry, Pawns. I forgot about Cody. He was so far behind you that I forgot about him.
So yeah, no, I mean it's nice to sit there, and I think he's going to be a nice addition for sure. And there is also one more innate ability, Wolfpack. While this unit is not wounded, when an allied clone trooper character makes an attack targeting an enemy character within range 5 of another allied clone trooper, the attacking the attacker's crit results may be modified by enemy effects, or cannot be modified
Cannot
by,
be.
yeah.
Cannot be.
So, which is nice because, like, let's say you're attacking into a Dooku, and that way he can't modify them with his tree, or just not even just making them failures, but making them regular hits. I mean, so it's kind of nice. I mean, and range 5 is nothing to sneeze at. That's pretty big, especially in this game, because we're so far forward. Even if you're on like contesting the back point for some reason, if you're too forward from the back point, you're still pretty far forward. That's putting a lot of people out there.
Yeah, and this is interesting because and when we see the supporting units, this will make a little more sense. But this whole ability, like all of this kit together, really feels like you are moving him up with at least one, if not both, of your supporting clone units
Mm-hmm.
to like have this like hunter posse
Right.
of that feels terrifying because you would think, oh, I'm gonna send Dooku over there, or I'm gonna send General Kenobi over there, or these characters that are like, I don't care if you attack me as a group because I'm gonna deflect it or riposte you or and turn all of your crits to failures and you're gonna be crying in a corner. Now all of a sudden, as long as you play the game right, and as you said, range 5 is huge, the defenses are down. Like the shield is down. All ships attack the Death Star. Like
Right.
this is go time,
Right.
right?
Yeah. No, I like it. I like it a lot. I mean, I think he's definitely the aggro thing that I think we were looking for in Galactic Republic. I'm gonna have to put him on the board and definitely see how he plays. But it definitely feels like the Galactic Republic is finally getting that aggressive secondary that they needed. I mean, and to be fair, Commander Wolffe, that's kind of what we expected out of him. Like he was kind of a little not right in the head, kind of wants to just beat the crap out of everything type of a character. So it's not too surprising there. But I mean, overall, looking at his stance card, he has range 4 with 7 dice, like you were saying, 5s across the board on defense for melee and range. Six attack dice in melee, but his melee expertise chart is solid. 1 to 2 gives him a crit and a hit. 3 to 4 gives him 2 crits and a strike, and then 5 plus, which you're probably not going to see very often, is going to be 2 crits and 2 hits. But a crit and a hit on one, or crit and a strike on one, is really solid.
Right? Again, the double clause.
Right,
Anytime one expertise translates into two things, great. I'm happy. Even if that thing's a damage, I mean, I'll take it. I'll take it.
right. I mean, and the blaster one, the DC-17 blaster, the range attack, not the greatest, but one gets you a hit, two gets you, or one gets you a strike, two gets you 2 strikes, 3 plus gets you a crit and 3 strikes. So it's not too bad, but you're definitely, you can tell, like, looking at the stance card, you really want to just run him up, get him into melee, and start just swinging away.
Yeah. I just like the fact that you wouldn't be embarrassed to use him at range because it does feel like a lot of the like the melee characters tend to also seem to get be as good at ranged a lot of the time, or like almost. But then a lot of the range characters, even the ones I like Night Sisters, and like they have knives too. Like when you compare their range to
Mm-hmm.
their range is very good and their melee is very not good.
Right, right.
So
And of course, like the big thing we were just talking about on his first step of his stance card is a shove and a damage. And if you go on the top side for his on his stance tree at 3, you have another shove and a damage. So first 3, you got 2 shoves potentially, or you could just do a little bit more damage. He's not gonna be wounding anybody, but there's some good displacement. He also has a pin, a disarm on his tree, as well as a shove if you decide not to do that second pin. So there's a little bit of flexibility in this tree for sure. But like I said, the shove on one is always great.
oh yeah, yeah. And I mean, hey, if you get one of those Happy Magic Christmas Land rolls, like I'm pretty sure I had one against you that was all hits, and you had like all failures. I get it right once per day.
Yep.
Uh, you can do 7 damage with that whole bottom side. I
Yeah.
mean, 7 damage is pretty gnarly. So I mean, not that we're really focusing on taking anybody out in this game, but sometimes you just need to deal exactly an amount of damage to get the wound, and you gotta look at the pieces.
Without a doubt. Yeah. So no, I definitely like that. I mean, I like him. But let's go ahead and finish this out with the 104th Wolfpack Troopers. They're not bad either as far as clone troopers go in Galactic Republic. So they have clone troopers, they have trooper, they have Galactic Republic and Wolfpack as their tags. 4 point cost supporting units with Clone Wars era. They also have run and gun, so each character in this unit can dash for a force, and if a character in this unit dashes, they immediately make a focus. So same as Commander Wolffe. So again, a nice little ability.
Yeah, yeah. I again with how these guys are built, I like run and gun. This
Yep.
this is giving me a aggressive Galactic Republic. Look, I get it. You're the protectors of democracy, as Mace Windu likes to say. Jedi don't fight for peace. That's a slogan. Jedi fight for civilization, which brings peace. But have you seen Mace Windu? The dude beats B2s with his bare hands. Let's do that, all right?
Right, right. But yeah, so I mean, no, I think this is what, like, some of the clone troopers we've been looking for. They have coordinated fire, which we've seen before, except this one gives strain. So we've kind of finished the gauntlet of all of the coordinated fires at this point in time. So now we now
Yep.
now we have strain for that. And then the last one is Pack Hunter, where when a character in this unit makes a melee attack, an enemy character that it's engaged with another character, they add 2 dice. So basically, same as we've already seen before. So they have Pack Hunter as well if they're engaged with another allied clone trooper. So pretty good stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. And what I really like is that there are, if you were worried, anyone, that they were moving too far away from the formula of clone troopers being extremely weak. The first success on each of these does no damage. Zero damage.
Yeah.
It is just a disarm or a strain. And and spoilers, you're gonna want to do the strain because your second and third success are at least a push and a pin.
Yeah.
Yay! But if you get three successes, which is the average, as we've been discussing, you're gonna get either a strain, a push a pin, and two damage, or a disarm, two damage, and a climb.
Right.
That that feels low, Todd. That feels like, why couldn't one of these boxes just also have a damage in them? Was it gonna kill you? Was it gonna kill you, everyone?
Well, they couldn't make them, good. They just had to make them clones, which are,
I
so
just I just it sorry, I guess I ran out of words right there. Uh,
I mean, they're not the greatest, which I mean, but it's something.
well, but okay, also like at max, you are only ever doing 3 or 4 damage on these guys because their last success
It's
is
just
also just a shove,
yeah,
which is fine. A shove is what we want, but you got 5 successes and probably did 3 damage
yeah,
because you wanted the shove side.
right.
I I I just like I'm trying to be positive here, but we're almost to the end, and it's just like couldn't each of you know what? Couldn't each of those boxes had a heal?
Well, so what they're really saying
Like
here,
I don't.
what they're really saying is, here's the last clones, but you really just want to play the original trilogy era. You don't want to play this era. That's what they're saying.
I wanted to hope. I wanted to hope that Snips and Plo Koon were going to come and and Sergeant Wolf, like he's a little cray cray. I like it. It's alright. I thought it was gonna get there, and then I see these guys, and I'll tell you, listeners, I've been busy. I didn't really prep much. You're getting hot take city here. Why don't they just do like one more damage? Just one more damage.
I mean, it wouldn't
Like,
really
have you
matter,
seen
but
Magna Guards?
yeah, I mean, the Magna Guards, like let's be honest, they are not your anything close to normal when it comes to your
Remind
supports.
me how many squad. Remind me, Todd. How many squad points are Magna Guards?
I mean, they should be two, really, but they're only three.
Two, and how many squad points are these guys again?
They're four, but I mean, they're clones, so that's expected. They're just
Uh,
these guys just came out of the tube, man. They just came out of the tube. That's the problem.
oh, and AMG, I'm going to offer my services as a lore consultant. Uh, why does Wolf not have the trooper tag, but the Wolfpack does? And we know that Plo Koon cares about the trooper tag. So like now I have to go back. Like, do Cody and Rex not have the trooper tag? We're trying to end this off, but I've gotten into full like what is going on? Who has the trooper tag? Because let's see. Okay, so Magna Guards get to be troopers. Oh. Okay, everyone. I guess this is the blooper episode, or we learned from our mistakes. Okay. All right. I was mistaken. Apparently, the leaders are not
They're
troopers,
not
even
troopers.
though they're clone troopers. It is all the supports.
Yep.
So all the supports are the only ones who have them. Oh, okay. Okay.
But it's but
That does make sense. That does make sense. All right.
but that's why it.
Retract.
But to keep in mind, I mean, that's also why you really might want to look into running the Padawans with Plo, because you're getting more value out of those. those. I mean, but it's something to that's a list building thing that we can definitely take a look at, especially as we're getting closer to Adepticon. We can definitely take a look into the different types of things that you can do with the list building, because Plo's probably going to be seeing a lot of play at Adepticon for sure. But yeah, I mean that is basically our units. I mean, we've kind of gone over everybody that is overall here in this box. So I'm excited to sit there and see them and finally get everybody get on the table with them. So we are, at the time of this recording, 2 weeks away from the release of these guys, and I think next week we'll probably go ahead and cover the Ewoks that are going to be coming out, because there's a lot of them. So no, it'll be exciting. Other than that, I think that kind of covers everything we wanted to go over tonight. As always, I do want to sit there and finish up by thanking each and every one of you for listening to our podcast and listening to our voices as Aubrey goes on his tangents that he always goes on. But that's okay. We love him for it. So I do want to thank, like I said, thank everyone for listening. If you want to support us, by always go ahead and review the podcast on whatever podcast platform you are listening to us on. If you're watching us on YouTube, go ahead and like, subscribe, and leave a comment. Let us know what you think. Other than that, again, thanks for listening, and may the Force be with you.
May the Force be with you.